Hello, beautiful humans. Thank you for tuning in to learn about fasting with me today. I am Hannah. I am a wellness consultant. I work 2 days a week for the Inter-Islander Ferry. I'm contracted to them to help all of their staff with their well-being. So we have a huge focus on nutrition and stress management and sleep and all other things that make us human. I also have my one-to-one private practice via A Nourishing Notion, where I help people to become their best selves through those things I've just mentioned and more. I have had a lot of personal experience going through all kinds of ups and downs in my life, and I've learned so much from that along the way, and I love to share that with others. I also have a background as a registered nurse. I've had 13 years experience in nursing, and I am just hugely passionate about plant-based nutrition and detox and fasting as well, as tools for really getting to that next level of wellness. So what I can offer as far as services, if you're interested, one-to-one coaching. I have all kinds of consultation options on my website, and if you'd like to learn more, all you need to do is send me a message and I'll flip the link through to you. We also, very excitingly, have 2 retreats running for 2024. My friend Sarah is a life coach and is an Enneagram wellness coach, and Enneagram is like your personality type. Hugely fascinating and a wonderful place to start to learn more about yourself and how to develop areas that need developing, areas for growth. And her and I have arranged these retreats for next year. I've got a couples retreat in Zatori at Collingwood in March 2024. So that is a 3-day retreat, 3 nights, where we have plant-based food and we have some juicing, some juice fasting. We are going to do a Blue Lotus tea ceremony and yoga and a sound healing journey. It's all very amazing. And we're going to talk a little bit about relationships and connection and how we can improve our intimate relationships. So there are spaces for 6 couples with that one, and finance is available with it as well. So if you're interested in that, any kind of couple, you could be heterosexual or other, that's absolutely fine. All couples are welcome. And then the second one, super exciting, because this is a bit self-fulfilling, I guess, because we are going to Bali, which is somewhere I've wanted to go for a very long time. And when I was in the doldrums of my health, in the depths of despair, basically thinking that I was never going to feel well again, I was thinking, I would love to go to a Bali wellness retreat and detox and juice fast and fruit fast and all of this kind of thing for healing. And I'm now offering it. So I never got to a retreat myself. I had little babies at that time and it didn't suit me. But now it's very cool to know that I am able to not only go and travel there with the support of my beautiful partner, Ted, holding the fort at home, but also that I can do all of the things I want to do with you. So with the participants, we have some spaces left, about 9 spaces left at this time. So if you're interested in that as well, please get hold of me, September 2024 for that one. And we've got some amazing workshops and the most beautiful resort booked out just for our group. It's super special, and again, we'll be doing a few days of juice fasting and otherwise plant-based nutrition, and just having a really great time connecting. That's a women's only retreat, so there's something super special about women getting together in a place where you can just completely relax and be yourself. Anyway, enough of my offerings. I am going to bring up Canva and find my fasting presentation here. Okay. So, successful fasting. I might actually see if I can change the view on Zoom so you can see my face while I continue. And so view, gallery, might work. Obviously, I'm not the tip one here. Bear with my darlings. Anyway, we will see how we go with this. Last time I have done a presentation, my face was showing as well, but I'm really sorry that it's not doing that today. Technical difficulties, probably something super simple like I was saying. So successful fasting. First off, I guess a bit of a disclaimer that you're ultimately responsible for your own safety and well-being, and this information here just comes from my personal experience and some research and knowledge, especially from my fasting mentor, Jason Sean Bennett. And yeah, so just be self-responsible. So we're going to cover what fasting is, why we should fast, a bit of a timeline about what happens in the body when we fast, when to fast, who shouldn't fast, options for fasting, because it depends on what you want your results to be as to how you might go about your fast, how to prepare for fasting, any challenges that you may come up against and ones that I've come up against, and how to break the fast. So what is fasting? Fasting's not starvation. It's actually an intentional abstinence from food. So actually choosing not to eat because we want to reap the health rewards, the health benefits of that. And humans have been going through feast and famine for millennia. It's a very normal pattern for humans to experience, that we either have a lot of food, in history anyway, a lot of food, and then times when we've had very little food, very little calories going in. And today, with how society is set up, it's obviously so different, because we're flooded with food. There's food everywhere. Our food environment is not set up for health and well-being and success in that realm. It is set up to make money for these companies that put these so-called foods out there to make money from us. They don't care about our health. They care about getting us hooked on their products, so we keep going back to buy more. So it's really unfortunate and a really difficult thing to navigate. We often don't leave enough time between meals to feel hunger. Like, we just are eating quite constantly and thinking about food quite constantly, which you will realize when you fast, how much you think about food. It surprises me every time. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I feel like I have so much more time when I fast. I get quite surprised by that. I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking about food a lot and what I'm going to eat next and all of this. So yeah, we don't have enough space between. And when we overeat, it is actually really harmful to our health, and it's a burden not only on the digestive system but on the liver as well. And our liver does so many jobs in the body. It's super important. We want to look after it. Reasons to fast: you can increase your overall energy, lose weight. It's an excellent tool for weight loss if you're carrying excess body fat. It improves our skin. You get radiance from within, that glowing skin from within, and also clear skin, because it really supports the liver and our gut. And when we support our liver and our gut, our skin looks beautiful. Reduces cancer risk, rebalances our gut microbiome. So you're not giving your gut any food, or you might be having juice or something like that. And so there is a die-off of the bad guys, and the good guys tend to flourish, or they might stay a bit stagnant, or maybe some of the good guys might die off if you're just having water because you're not feeding them their favorite food. But then when it comes to refeeding yourself after the fast, hugely important step in fasting is what you eat afterwards. You make the choices so that the balance of the gut flora is super healthy and positive. We want the good ones to flourish. We can do that with our food choices. So super powerful thing to know. Strengthen our immune system, incredible for the immune system, gives the digestive system a break. It's a very busy system, takes a lot of energy to digest food. cleansing of the bowels, especially with juice. So you'll find if you're juice fasting that your bowels will continue to move very effectively. And I quite like that. I like to switch it up, whether I water fast or juice fast, how I'm feeling. I like the benefits of both. And then reducing inflammation in the body, so generalized aches and pains. You can get into autophagy, the cell cleanup, where the body will digest old proteins and old cell matter, like parts of the cell that aren't functioning as well as they were, and that kind of thing. It can clear all of that out and clean up even precancerous cells. So super cool thing. Regulates our appetite, definitely. Helps break food addiction, definitely. And overeating. I have suffered with food addiction and overeating for my whole life probably, and plant-based eating was super helpful in regulating my blood glucose levels, so I no longer got hangry. I used to be known as hangry Hannah. That doesn't happen anymore with plant-based nutrition. And but then with plant-based nutrition, I've still had the tendency to overeat, and I find that fasting will always help me to keep on top of that. So I'm managing my food addiction and overeating concerns, issues with plant-based eating and fasting, and it is so effective. Reduces the risk of lifestyle diseases, so I'm talking cancer, heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and all those autoimmune ones that are becoming more and more common. It is cleansing and detoxifying for the organs, anti-aging, it aids longevity. Some of the longest lived cultures in the world either have times of fasting, or they actually don't eat to 100% fullness. They eat less calories than their body needs, and this aids longevity too. So even just, not if you weren't fasting at all, you didn't have a regular fasting routine, but you were eating 80% of your daily calories, then you're still going to get those benefits of longevity. It's very anti-aging. And it enhances your spiritual connection. It brings you closer to source or God or universe or angels or whatever you believe in spiritually. It can enhance your spiritual connection. And that's why a lot of religions around the world will have times of fasting. Reverse insulin resistance and more. Yeah, great for the hormones in the body. So insulin is one of our hormones that helps us to lock away that blood, that glucose, the sugar in the blood after we eat carbohydrate, and store it effectively and efficiently for later use as energy movement. And so it's often mostly stored in the muscles and the liver. And we don't want insulin resistance. We want that process to happen well. We want the insulin to be effective in its job, and locking away that blood glucose, that glucose out of the blood and into the muscles and liver, etc. This is a bit of a fasting timeline here, just so you can have an idea of what happens with fasting. This is a water fasting, is basically what we've got here. So 3 to 18 hours into a water fast or a 0-calorie fast, you have a drop in your insulin. The glycogen from the liver starts to be used as energy. So that's like what I'm talking about, that glucose being stored in the liver. It actually gets turned into glycogen and is stored there for energy when we need it. So that gets used. And the cortisol and epinephrine increase. So those are our stress hormones from the adrenal glands, and that's why it's good to be cautious about when you fast, because it can interrupt your cycle. You can play about with it though, and figure out what works best for you and what feels best for you. So I'll talk a little bit about timing further on. And sometimes a healthy stress on the body is really good too, especially for longevity. It shows such as cold water therapy as well. That's a stress on the body, and it does release these hormones also, cortisol and epinephrine, but it's actually a positive stress on the body, and the body does well with some of these stresses. It doesn't do well with modern day life stress, but it does well with these other stresses such as hard exercise, running, fasting, and cold water therapy. And then you enter into this fasting state at 18 to 48 hours after your last meal. The body starts to burn fat and protein for energy. So it's using up the stores that it's got there. And it will enter into ketosis, which is using fat as fuel instead of the glucose from carbohydrate, because we're not eating anything, so we haven't got the glucose, and we might have used up a lot of our glycogen stores from our liver. And autophagy sets in. So autophagy will be much more effective and efficient and be happening on a higher level if you're water 0-calorie fasting versus if you're juice fasting. You will still get some autophagy when you juice fast, but it's not to the extent of water fasting. And to really reap the rewards of water fasting as far as autophagy and stem cell replenishment goes, then you're wanting to do 72 hours or greater. And of course, you get some medical advice before entering into that level of fasting. Long-term fasting state, 48 hours after your last meal, your body is in ketosis. So it's using the body fat as fuel, and it's using amino acids from the muscles for fuel, but not to the extent where you have any significant muscle wasting at this point. And yeah, you want to get some professional help to get to this level. As far as, water only fasting 72 hours, you want to be confident that it's the right thing for you to be doing, and you want your lifestyle set up so that you can give yourself the best chance for success with it. But super effective as far as, like I say, getting that autophagy, that cell cleanup, that pre-cancer cell or cancer cell cleanup, and the stem cell rejuvenation creation. So yeah, super effective. I personally, if I ever had if I was unlucky enough to have a cancer diagnosis, water fasting, prolonged water fasting would be the first thing I would get stuck into, to be honest. That's me personally, though. When to fast. So this is just a bit about, if you're a menstruating woman, ideally, if you're wanting to ensure that you have keep your cycles regular, etc., and are doing the best by your feminine cycle, then fasting between days 4 and 19 is optimum. That's the best. And because what can happen is you can shorten your cycle if you've got quite a bit of cortisol, epinephrine pumping out in the body, then you affect your progesterone production, and in that later part of the cycle around day 19, 20, and then there might not be the right level of progesterone for you to have a 2-week luteal phase. So basically you should ovulate and then have 2 weeks ideally before you bleed. And if you have a short luteal phase, then it could be stress related. And if you're fasting a lot, it could be fasting related. Hopefully that's clear, but please message me with any questions if you have them. But you can still cleanse outside of those dates if you weren't feeling up to fasting. I personally have dabbled in doing the days 4 to 19, but overall, if I'm feeling really good in myself, if I've had good sleep and I'm not stressed out and I'm in a good place and I feel like fasting's right for me, I will do it any day of my cycle. So you can cleanse with food, and what I would recommend is starting with lemon water, going on to some cold pressed juice or some homegrown juice is the next best option if you want that convenience, and then having like Build-A-Bowl meals, salad bowls that have very little fat or no fat in them for the rest of the day, and that just gives the liver a really good chance to clean. And you could do a day, you could do multiple days, you could do a week like that. It's super good for the body. And if you're just starting to juice or water fast, choose days that you don't have a lot on and you don't have to expend much physical energy. You don't want to be doing any hard workouts or anything, but it's nice to go for a walk or to do some stretching or yoga, gentle exercise only. And over time, if you're regularly fasting, your body adapts and it just gets easier, and you feel more confident and you just feel better in your body when you're doing it 2 to 4 times a month. And Yeah, so when I'm talking about 2 to 4 times a month, I'm talking about a 24 to 36 hour fast. So that's what I prefer to do. I've dabbled in intermittent fasting, but it's not for me. You may find it good for you, but I feel that sometimes it's daily stress on the body as well, whereas once a week or once a fortnight doing 24 or 36 hours, you're just kind of stressing your body that one time and then coming out of it again. And I just find it super effective for me and less disruptive to my life, because I can just book that one day, like look at my schedule and be intentional about, oh, I might fast on that day. And then on the day, if the day comes and I really don't feel up to it, I won't. But because I don't like to fast when I'm at work. So yeah, I look at when I could fast, and then if it feels good and I go ahead with it, then all good. And what I'll do is I'll have dinner, and then the entire next day I don't eat any solid food, and then I break my fast the next morning after that, so that I do a 36-hour fast. And that's just my personal experience with dabbling with everything, trying different ways of fasting. I've done a 72-hour water fast, and I intend on doing another one of those soon. I'm really feeling called to do that, so I will do that again. I did find it highly challenging, although now I've been fasting for a year quite regularly. I think it's going to be somewhat easier. We will see. We will see. So yeah, with a lot of when I talk about fasting in here, for me it's the 36 hours, but you might want to try 24 for a start, or perhaps you do like the daily intermittent fasting. But to me, I just don't want to do anything like that on a daily basis. It just doesn't sit right for me. And I didn't reap the same level of rewards either, and prolonged fasting gets you more of the benefits. So choose a day to fast or cleanse each week, but try and make it a different day each time if you can, because the body is ridiculously smart and it can sort of adapt. And then you might not, if you're, for example, trying to lose body fat, you might plateau. And fasting failures, normal part of a regular fasting regime. If you're intending to fast regularly, there will be some days where you get to lunchtime and you're just not feeling it and you need to eat some food, and that's absolutely fine. I've had that happen a couple of times. It's not a common thing, but I succumb because I'm very stubborn and headstrong, and so I very much don't like calling it, but I also know when to call it. So I've gotten over myself a bit, I guess. Your ego can get in the way, and if you're super determined like me and headstrong and stubborn, then you sort of want to push through, but it's not always the best option. A wee bit of water, all this talking. Who shouldn't fast? If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, don't fast, but you could dabble in perhaps some juice mornings. You might have a lemon water or lemon ginger honey water or something like that in the morning to start off, and then have some fresh fruit and veg juices up until lunchtime, and then go back to some whole foods eating, making sure you're getting plenty of fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, beans, chickpeas, lentils into your diet. There wouldn't be any trouble in doing that for the morning if you felt called to. But I feel that most pregnant and breastfeeding women prefer to eat whole foods, and the cleaner you eat, the better. So, but even doing those cleanse days where you might have lemon water, some juice, smoothie, and salads, that's highly nourishing for the body, and it's not going to dump off any major toxins into your bloodstream or anything, or affect your baby negatively. Be cautious if you have a history of disordered eating. Some people are at a point where they are okay to do something like fasting. It depends on how healed, I guess, they are. And for others, they just know it's really not right for them. So, just be mindful of that one if that applies to you. And instead, you can opt, like I say, for that nutritional food cleanse option, which is having the juices, the smoothies, the salads, steamed potatoes, yummy new potatoes at this time of year, that kind of thing. So there are alternatives that you can go for. Options. So you can do 100% water, like good quality water, maybe distilled water or filtered water, and then add in your electrolytes. And that way you're going to prevent any dehydration or any concerns there. Electrolytes when fasting just make it so much easier, much more doable. I love the BioTrace brand and I get it from Health Post. Excuse me. So like a super low calorie liquids fast is another one, which basically is just water, but also having herbal teas, hot or cold. And you might even have like a teaspoon of Goddess greens in the morning, and it's less than 5 grams of carbohydrate. So something like that where you're just not having any real calories and you're still going to reap the rewards of the autophagy, etc., and giving your digestive system a break and all of that kind of thing. And then a juice fast with nutritionals. So by this I mean having juices. You might have 1 or 2 liters of juice a day. I usually dilute mine 50-50 with filtered water. You might have water with electrolytes, herbal teas, mushroom teas. You might want to have some Jing and hot water. I find that really nice. You might have a lemon honey ginger tea, or you might have honey and Jing and hot water. So honey is okay in this one. Honey and juice and Goddess greens, mushrooms, all your tonic herbs, absolutely fine. Stay away from any caffeine. And then nutritional solid food cleanse, like I've mentioned a couple times now, is that whole lemon water, juice, smoothie, salad, eating like that as raw as possible. Raw food cleanse, I guess. Coffee and bone broth, no. Cacao, no, I didn't put cacao in there, but no cacao, no coffee, no bone broth. Stay off the caffeine because that's just going to heighten any sort of stress response and add to that, and that's not ideal. It's also super dehydrating. Even cacao is dehydrating, and we want to really hydrate ourselves and cleanse our bodies, and those things will not do it. Also, coffee can be quite inflammatory for a lot of people. They don't realize it can actually be the cause of a lot of aches and pains and skin troubles and gut troubles and all kinds of things, but it's very normalized in culture. And there are studies to say that it's really good for you. Just like anything in the world, that you can find evidence to back up what you enjoy. But from what I know and experience and what I also see with my clients, is to keep away from the coffee. Bone broth, from my perspective, it's an absolute no, and that's on a personal level as well as just what I know from the science. But I, early on in my healing journey, went towards paleo. Well, I was eating paleo, Western price style of eating, and a lot of bone broth. I lived on my own lifestyle block, had our own cattle beasts and sheep and all of that, homegrown meat, and was boiling up the bones, the cattle beast bones, and making my own bone broth, but got absolutely nowhere as far as healing my body. It just was not at all helping me to heal, and not doing what I had read that it would do for me at all. And once I quit the bone broth, it not only was a relief not to have to boil up those bones anymore. Juicing's way more enjoyable than doing the bone broth thing, but also I started to heal. Having juice versus bone broth to me is inflammatory, and it is not, it's full of fat, and it's not allowing the liver to do its thing and be able to cleanse effectively. When we have a fat heavy diet, the liver gets burdened, and like I say, our liver is super important, does so many functions in our body. It's just magical, and we need to take care of it. And its favorite foods are plant foods, good sources of carbohydrate, whole food sources of carbohydrate. It absolutely thrives on that. So and those things allow it to cleanse and heal. Check out Medical Medium for more information on this kind of thing. He was a huge part of my healing journey, and also his protocols feature heavily in what I share with my clients. How to prepare. So your food environment. So this is how to prepare as in like maybe the week before even, you want to really, if you are eating more of a standard Kiwi diet, you want to clean it up. You don't want to have a lot of processed foods, junk foods, alcohol, sugar, caffeinated drinks, all of that stuff. You want to clear that out of your diet. If you're eating dairy, eggs, and meat, you want to reduce or clear them out of your diet beforehand, at least a week beforehand. And you want to be prepared as far as your food environment. So not having foods around that are a weakness and that might tempt you. Don't have them in your home environment or your work environment. Make the access difficult and set yourself up for success in that aspect, in that respect. And be prepared as far as like family dinners. Either make really simple dinners. I would often do baked beans on toast, and especially in my early days of fasting. But once I got more used to it, I could cook anything at all. It wasn't trouble at all for me to do that. And I can now. I can make a curry or something like that. I just have to get someone else to taste it to know that I'm on the ball with the spices and things. And yeah, otherwise get someone else to cook and just make it super simple. It's just one night, right? It's a good thing to tell yourself when you're fasting too, is like, if you're doing a 24 or 36 hour fast or whatever, you can just say, look, I can eat tomorrow. It's all good. I can eat tomorrow. Absolutely fine, Fasting challenges, sleep. For some, this could be better, and others it could get worse. Personally, I have very sound sleeps on my night of fasting. I absolutely love it. I sleep like a log, but I might feel the cold a bit more, so I have to make sure that I'm roped up enough. Wear socks, that kind of thing. And it's a good opportunity to take an early night of sleep. So that's a win-win. You're not only doing your fasting thing to help your body in a myriad of ways, but you're also getting extra sleep. So going to bed early is really good on a fasting day, because what else are you going to do? You can't have dinner. Anyway, and yeah, you can get quite fatigued, especially on water fasting. So a lot of resting and not too much physical activity, maybe a little walk. Like I mentioned before, you can feel the cold, so layer up with warm clothing and good warm socks. If you are not strictly water fasting, you can have ginger tea. Just chop up some ginger root and steep it in boiled water. Super easy. Take a hot shower or bath with Epsom salts before bed. That's another nice wee ritual to do. Bath with Epsom salts. Nice thing to do on a fasting day. Headaches. These can somewhat be mitigated by taking electrolytes or some Celtic sea salt with your water to make sure you get that cellular level of hydration. But also it can just be a symptom of detox and something that you just got to suck up and understand that, okay, I'm purging some stuff. This is a good thing. And sometimes turmeric tea can be helpful as well. Ginger and turmeric are really anti-inflammatory, and they might help ease that. Hunger, yeah, so I've talked about this. When you feel hungry, you can tell yourself, look, I can eat tomorrow. Look at how much food's available to us. Other parts of the world, they don't have the luxury, right? And so you can just think of maybe other people in the world that don't have food in abundance like we do here in the Western world in New Zealand. And yeah, just talk yourself into it that you can eat tomorrow. It's absolutely fine. You're not going to die. You're not going to starve. Excuse me. And you could have a good bolus dose of water. Bolus, gosh, it's so nursey. But, have a big drink of water in one sitting, and that can sometimes stave off hunger. And some fasts you'll just feel hungrier than others. Emotional and psychological, I haven't updated this part. Utilize the tools Rachel shows you to ground yourself and bring yourself into the present moment. So Rachel is my friend from Level Up Coaching, and she's hugely into the nervous system and getting you into parasympathetic nervous system mode. So different tools you can do if you're struggling emotionally and psychologically, dancing and shaking your body, tapping, meditation, listening to like 432 Hertz music. You could do om sound from the voice, or VU is another one that Rachel taught me. So yeah, endless things that you can do to ground yourself and soothe yourself when you're feeling emotionally or psychologically unsettled, which definitely happens with fasting. It definitely happens. It's quite an interesting thing because it's not just a physical level thing. With family, ask for grace and support when you're fasting. Definitely let your family know when you plan to fast, so that they're aware and can be supportive and be considerate around maybe what they choose to eat when they're around you, and also just being mindful that you could be more tired or irritable at the end of the day. That definitely happens for myself and my partner, but it does get better over time. And you have ups and downs, like sometimes you're more like that and other times you just won't have it at all. Cooking for others, like I say, just keep it super simple, pre-prepare, use leftovers, anything like that. Breaking a fast really matters. We want to do it well. I've broken fasts terribly over my time. I have been regularly fasting for a year, like I've said, but I, before that, dabbled in all kinds of different fasting and juice fasting, but just not for as long as I do now. And I have broken my fast poorly a fair few times, I'll have you know. But things like juice and smoothies to start off with, and then going on to some whole fruit or some soup, or even just having some miso and hot water, just keeping it really simple to start off with. And then as the day goes on, getting in some solid plant-based foods, some steamed potatoes or kumara and salad and that kind of thing might be quite good. And drink plenty of fluids. Don't overcompensate. So make the most of the fact that your stomach will have less capacity to eat as much as what you might have been eating before, especially if you're trying to break food addiction and overeating. You will get fuller quicker, so run with that, go with that, and use it as an opportunity to eat less each day on an ongoing basis. So don't go scoffing a heap of food after fasting. And this will definitely help you to lose body fat overall, because you'll reduce your portion sizes, reduce your intake, and hopefully get some good spacings between the times you eat and allow the hunger to be present and be okay with the hunger being present. So yeah, be mindful of that for sure. Don't go beyond that sensation of fullness. Right, we're at the end. Thank you so much for your attention and your time. So fasting, when it's done so in a mindful way, is super effective. It's affordable. Yeah, you save a heap on groceries, especially if there's 2 adults in the house fasting once a week or once a fortnight. And it is actually a simple addition to your health regime. It is challenging. I won't say that it's not challenging, but it's a good challenge, and we do need to push ourselves to get outside of our comfort zone. That's where the growth is, and that's where we reap the rewards and the benefits. So it is worth giving it a go, even if you start small and extend your time over time. So you might want to start with a half-day fast, and then you might go to 24 hours where you go from dinner to dinner, and then you might try the 36 or longer, seeing how it works for you. But yeah, before you know it, it can become second nature and be really simple to do, and just a wonderful tool to have in your toolkit to rely on, especially if you've gone on holiday and you've overindulged or something like that, where you're just not feeling yourself and you feel like a reset. Then you're empowered to do your own reset. You don't need to go outside of anyone but yourself, and your reset can simply be refraining from eating solid food. And yeah, simple yet challenging. And I found it very difficult first off because of my food addiction and overeating stuff that I have grown up with. If you'd like to juice fast and detox your body in a supportive setting, like I mentioned at the start, we have Satori at Golden Bay March for couples of all kinds. So however your couple looks, your relationship looks, you're welcome to come along. I have 6 spaces for that. And that's a 3-night stay in that beautiful piece of the country. And I've also got Bali in September, which is 5 nights, and there are multiple options if you wanted to extend your stay or anything like that. Email my beautiful friend Sarah, who is the travel broker, the person who's organizing these retreats and is also coming on Bali retreat and offering her Enneagram life coaching workshop while we're there, which is super cool. I'm excited for that one because learning that I was an Enneagram 2 was very eye-opening, and but also like, yes, it made a lot of sense. So really cool thing to look into, but we'll have amazing workshops there available. So you can email Sarah or message me if you have any questions, or if you'd like the link for Bali, I can send that through as well. All right, so that is the end of our beautiful little webinar on fasting. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate. Here I am again. I don't know what happened with that view, but please don't hesitate to get in contact if you have any questions at all about anything that I've spoken about today. I am happy to help you, more than happy to help you. I love to have conversations in the DMs. Send me a message or send me an email, hannah@anourishingnotion.co.nz if you'd like to know more. Lots of love to you all. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you again soon.